What is up, everyone? What is up? Happy Thursday. It's almost the end of the week. Thank God. Thank God it's almost Friday. What's everyone up to this week so far? It's been an interesting week for me, to say the least. I've been doing a lot of different terraforming and stuff, and it's kind of interesting how I'm like the only one on my team that actually even knows how to use Git. And been doing all that, which I never really went to school for any of this. Did you fix the sound? Yeah, I think I fixed the sound. It looked like it was actually an issue with the music player itself, because when we played it through the web browser, it worked fine. Don't know. Digitizing your physical media. How so what? The sound or whatever is? Can your intro be any longer? It was only like 2.5 minutes. I had commercial breaks that were as long as that when I was watching TV growing up. That's one thing that I think blows my mind, having, grown up through, growing up. Everyone, like, it blows my mind when people are like, oh my God, they have like 2-3 minutes I had to wait, or when people are like, there's 3 minutes of ads on Twitch, and I'm like, buddy, we had like 3 minutes of ads 3 times every 30 minutes. So you literally had, like, if anyone ever wonders why, when you watch a TV program, and it's something that's for network TV, and an hour-long episode is like 42 minutes, it's because it's 18 minutes of ads. Or like, 10 minutes before a movie. How'd you deal with ego and toxic competition in the IT industry and teams, if ever experienced it? I didn't deal with that. I just told people to get over themselves and we're here to do a job. If you have people that are toxic and there's an ego, that's usually an indication that management has fostered a toxic culture, and people don't leave jobs, they leave management. Recommend to study cybersecurity in 2025 in college. I've never really recommended going to school for cybersecurity. Here's why, and I'm saying this as a cybersecurity professional. All the things you pretty much learn about cybersecurity, you can learn in the field, and even if you get a degree in cybersecurity, it's going to be next to impossible to be hired in a cybersecurity position without any pre-existing IT experience. I think it's really disingenuous what a lot of colleges do, and they try to tell people and give them guarantees like, oh, with this degree you can go, get a cybersecurity career. I know a lot of people that are leaving college now that are struggling to find any job. Period. And a lot of the cybersecurity positions, go look on Indeed, go look on LinkedIn, go look on, every job board that you can think of where cybersecurity people go look at. Look at the requirements for junior security engineer. They're still looking for them to have some IT background. I can get around that because I've been in the field at this point like close to 15 years, more or less, and been doing cybersecurity close to 10, basically, with networking, firewalls, and things like that, and I have my CISSP, which proves that I definitely have at least 5 years of experience in the field. Why are they so stingy with hiring? I can't give the full answers to that, but the honest truth is, well, I wouldn't really trust people to go straight into cybersecurity without actually having experience in troubleshooting and all that. I've seen that firsthand where people come in, start with cybersecurity, even if they've been in, they've, done other jobs and they're a little bit older and they come in because they don't know how to troubleshoot a lot of things. And cybersecurity, you need to understand, it's not really an entry-level career. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why do they have entry-level jobs? Well, it's the same thing as I will always tell you. When you become a doctor, you don't just become general practice or a specialist. You go through residency, you go through, you know, multiple stages of your career, and then you can do general practice, and then from there, you can then get into a specialty. That's kind of how it works as well in many career fields. Too much demand, not enough supply. That's another reason. There's a lot of demand on the senior side of cybersecurity, but not as much in the junior levels. Unless you're able to come in saying, like, I'm doing a lot of this stuff in the field already. I have this, you know, experience to bring with me. Everybody's path may be different, but the honest truth is right now it's very hard. It's always been hard to get into cybersecurity without a background. And I'm saying that as I've been on both sides of the table. It's only going to get worse for entry level. Well, in terms of cyber, yeah, that's why if you can actually work in IT and do different things in IT, architecture, networking is one of those things that can be either IT or cybersecurity. It depends on the company. But a lot of people are considering networking, specifically networking security, you know, firewalls, IDS, IPS, things like that, as cybersecurity. If you do that for a few years, you can work your way up. How do you know how to transfer software engineer to cybersecurity? I have 6 years of experience with Java, Python, and Node.js. Well, there's a whole thing of code security, application security. You have to make sure the pipelines are secured. You have to make sure there's secure coding practices being followed. So there's definitely a whole specialty of cybersecurity devoted just to the code aspects of things. Yeah, I solved the clipping problem. It wasn't really actually my problem. It was a problem with the local media player, but not with the web browser, we found out. Thanks for the follow, Cloud Engineer. Thoughts on GovTech? It's a thing, but right now in the USA, I wouldn't bother with it. The problem is, especially right now with the Trump administration, like they're talking right now about the potential shutdown and not just furloughing employees, but completely letting them go. No one really has job security in GovTech at the federal level. And the problem is with the uncertainty that comes with federal funds, that trickles down to state levels. And the state level is not usually always on the up and up when it comes to a lot of technology. They're usually behind. And then at the city level, it gets even worse. And there's a lot of politicians that don't even see the value in cybersecurity as well, if that's the route you're trying to go. You still daily driving Papuas? Yeah. It's hard to get a job anywhere. It is. I'm applying to jobs here and there just to see if I can level up my career as well. I'm not running towards the door, but I definitely can see there are better opportunities than where I'm at right now. I always get this feeling of boredom, basically, when I know it's like, yeah, I think it's time to like think about moving on. And I'm getting to that point. But, yeah. Let's see, before we hop into Borderlands, got a couple of things that I know my community wanted me to look at. Didn't start with Debian 13. Debian 13's nice. I have it on my mini laptop. Alright, let's see. 2 Supreme Court cases that could justify... that could break the internet. No. I don't know why my brain is fried. February, the Supreme Court will hear 2 cases, Twitter versus Tomney and Gonzalez v. Google. That's interesting. It was filed under Twitter, which means that's probably been there for a minute. Both cases concern Section 230 of the 1996 Communications Decency Act, which grants legal immunity to internet platforms for content posted by users. The plaintiffs in each case argue that that platforms have violated federal anti-terrorism statutes by allowing content to remain online. There is a carve-out in Section 230 for content that breaks federal law. Meanwhile, the justices are deciding whether to hear two more cases concerning laws in Texas and Florida about whether internet providers can censor political content that they deem offensive or dangerous. The laws emerged from claims that providers were suppressing conservative voices. Ah, great. Won't let me read it. So I guess we will go after... I hate when they do that. It's like, oh yeah, we want you to subscribe for this paper. How about you just put ads on my page? And then just at least say remove your ad blocker. Because I don't see the point in subscribing to a lot of these publications. But let's see. Twitter v. Tomne. So that was filed apparently in 2023. Interestingly, there's not been a lot of people talking about it. Alright. Carried out a terrorist attack on the Rain and nightclub in Istanbul, Turkey, on behalf of the Islamic State, ISIS, and okay, so this had to do with that. Instead of suing ISIS directly under the plaintiffs here invoked to sue three of the largest social media companies in the world, Facebook, Twitter, petitioner here, and Google, which owns YouTube, for aiding and abetting ISIS. Okay, I remember this situation. Yeah. That is interesting. I completely forgot about this case. I remember when it was brought up, but I know it was going on for a while. More or less, if I recall, the situation around this was basically they want to hold the social media platforms accountable because they allowed that content to be on their platforms. On one hand, I can see the case for it, but on the other hand, it's kind of tough because moderation is always iffy. And then Gonzalez v. Google. Okay, so let's see this one. On writ of certiorari to the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. In 2015, ISIS... Okay, so this is having to do with ISIS again. Gonzalez's parents and brothers then sued Google under 18, alleging that Google was both directly and secondarily liable for the terrorist attack that killed Gonzalez for their secondary liability claims. So they both basically touch on the fact that, you know, there was terrorism that happened to be spreading on the platform. Yeah, that's what I'm going through on review on stream. This was in part from this that HBX put, but the issue was the New Yorker apparently wants you to subscribe. So I'm doing my own research on that. But anyway, yeah, so these both had to do with terrorism, and I think... I understand where Section 230 has a carve-out for terrorism, and I do think that social media companies should do better in terms of moderation. However, knowing how moderation was around these times, and a lot of it was still human-powered, it still, for the most part, is, it's really hard to rein that in. Could those social media companies been doing more? Probably. But I think it's going to have repercussions on the rest of the world. I mean, the rest of the US that I don't really care for. Let's see. Now, there's a couple others. Oh yeah, we got the Texas and Florida about internet providers can censor political content. This is where net neutrality comes into play. Net neutrality is basically the idea that internet providers have to take a neutral stance on all content. No prioritizing content over others, and I would consider censorship and of different sites just because of what you deem as part of that. I don't think the ISPs should be given the power to regulate what people should do. I think that's down to the government. And I do think that internet should be treated as a utility. The reality is that internet is a technology that you really can't live without today. And I'm not saying like, oh no, I can't live without my Reddits and stuff. Like, think about it this way. I want you to sit there and think about how you would operate in today's world without the internet. How are you going to apply for a job? How are you going to get to that job? You're going to look up the map? How? Do you have an atlas in your house? Probably not. Okay, maybe I do, but I'm one of those weird people. But, you know, you really can't function without the internet as it exists. And even so, when you think about a cell phone, what is the current cell phone networks, if not anything more than an extension of the internet as it exists to conduct telephony? Yeah. What about death threats? Well, death threats are a violation of a person's rights. That's totally different than under Section 230. That goes under you are giving a direct threat to someone's life, liberty. And that's already been tried in law far longer than this. The issue at hand is, should Twitter, Facebook, Google, and other social media companies be held accountable for those things happening on their platform? I already did all that stuff in the past. You go buy maps, get them printed, or memorize the interstates. Lots of homeless people have free gov phones, and they need them now for applying to for government assist. The internet isn't, how do I say this, a privilege anymore. It's required for human life. Yep. That is the absolute truth. You really can't function in today's society without the internet, as much as I would like to see that change. That's just the unfortunate reality of things. I don't know where we go from here, but it is what it is. Alright, hopefully the audio's gonna pipe through just fine. Alright, this was something Vampire showed. This looks like it has to do with the Hack 5 Wi-Fi Pineapple Pager, which is a toy I want to actually pick up myself.
Cool phone freaking may be dead, but that doesn't mean we can't have some fun. I'm testing out payloads for the pager, and I've built one using Baudot. It's a 5-bit protocol from the telegraph era, so it actually...
I've actually seen that used years ago.
Quite simply, it's just 2 tones. One for 1 and one for 0, and they transmit 22 milliseconds at a time.
You can actually do that over ham radio. I've seen people talk about this.
Less than 0.00005 megabits per second.
I might try that over ham.
It transmitted acoustically over a lot of mediums. I'm leaving a Baudot voicemail on a VoIP system I built. Once I hang up, the URL to a WAV file is posted to my server. That kicks off a script that downloads and decodes it with Minimodem. From here, I can remotely control my server or even send text messages. Baudot is a ton.
But it's a very slow.
You can even enable it on Android and iPhone, which should sound familiar if you've worked on the 20-year Hack 5 challenge coin. And now, it's on the Wi-Fi Pineapple Pager. Old school phone freaking may be dead, but...
Yeah. I've seen people play with stuff like that. My dad actually was a phone freaker. I remember he actually had pre-recorded tones to unlock the system to do international calls and long distance. That's how we talked to the family overseas. Phone freaking was a fun thing. You can't do it anymore, because it relied on analog systems that no longer are in service anymore. Yeah. I learned war driving from a friend of the family, phone freaking from my dad, although I barely remember a lot of it because I was so little. But I remember, like, seeing things like, was the blue phones and, you know, the freak box, things like that. There's a wristwatch that could do something like that. Yeah, There's quite a few things out there. I can think of many possibilities for that, kind of like how I would use my VoIP server to remote reboot, restart apps on my server. Yeah, that'd be interesting, but I'm not saying it'd be protected through obscurity, but you know what they say about protection through obscurity is it's not always the best thing, because once it's revealed, it's no longer secure. But somebody could actually, that you have that opened and do stuff like that. What's the likelihood of that? Probably very, very little. Do you like OpenBSD? I'm thinking of putting it on an old precision. I haven't played much with OpenBSD, but I use FreeBSD on a few things. In fact, at work, if any of you are familiar with Zscaler, they use FreeBSD for a few of their appliances. Their indexer and deceptions are apparently running FreeBSD. I was one of the only people, besides my architect, that actually knew how to wrap my head around that. Because I did a uname on it, and I was like, oh, this is FreeBSD! And I use FreeBSD for my pfSense firewall. Yeah. In all honesty, I like the networking stack better on BSDs than I do Linux. Because Linux has IP filter and net tables compared to PF on BSDs. And PF is so much more powerful because it's a parser, configurator, all that. If anyone's ever had to manage IP tables, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Especially because once you get your IP tables so long, you then have to start managing it with IP set. Because it takes so long to load and unload rules. Why did they use that system for analog? Isn't there a better way with analog? It literally is a system from, like, the telegraph days. Yeah, there are better systems, but, yeah. Might be time to pick up ham radio gear laying around post-rapture. Probably have a password that runs first that you have to VoIP read first. Maybe. Putting it on it or FreeBSD because it's like, yeah, those are great. There's also, shoot. I think it's NetBSD is the secure one. Like, BSDs are already, secure. I'm trying to remember. Hold on. Hardened BSD is a version of FreeBSD compiled with a bunch of security measures. There's also OpenBSD. Oh, FreeBSD is a little bit more secure. NetBSD might be slightly more, and then there's hardened BSD. So you have this. But yeah. So it looks like they're trying to address technical debt inside the project. I'm curious how they harden it even more. I'm sure somebody has a write-up on this. I just have to dive into it. I haven't done too much on the BSD sides as much as I have Linux, but I know when it comes to networking and certain things, I would prefer BSDs. That's just how I am. I like it. I like the jails and everything. You have a unified firewall, or the BSD-based firewall is better? I would say so in my opinion, because Unify, WatchGuard, Sophos, and most other vendors out there, they're based on Linux. And like I've said, PF is just so much better. Let me, trying to find what was the reasoning why. Yeah, basically PF is a little bit more clean, more human readable. It's stateful by default. There's a lot more prioritization capabilities that are built into it. Yeah, it's just a lot more capable in my opinion from what I've used. And I've used, Unify firewalls, but Unify is, I know they're getting better, but I've always not been a fan of their firewalls. I use their access points, I use their switches. So my network is completely Unify except for the firewall. That's pfSense. I've just always preferred that route. I'm not saying Unify is bad, but I'm just saying I have more bells and whistles with pfSense than I do with Unify. But I'm hearing Unify is doing some definite improvements to make it more of an enterprise-capable firewall. That's just about 2 cents. Alright, let's watch a little... I had a couple of videos I wanted to watch before we started hopping into tonight's session of Borderlands, because we didn't get to do that last night. So I wanted to at least see the AI bubble is about to burst video, and Linux is changing Rust, new file systems, multi-kernels, and more. Haven't seen either of these videos, but here we are.
Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI and unofficial high priest of the AI cult, just randomly admitted that, yeah, this might all be a bubble. He told reporters, "When bubbles happen, smart people get overexcited about a kernel of truth," which is basically the billionaire way of saying everyone's lost their minds, but in a thoughtful way. He even compared it to the dot-com bubble, that fun time when the NASDAQ lost almost 80% of its value because
I was still a kid when that happened.
Companies were just PowerPoints with mascots. And honestly, he might
true.
be right. The U.S. stock market has almost doubled in 5 years, mostly because 10 giant companies promised AI would change literally everything. Altman's raised billions and is already talking about spending trillions on data centers, which is a totally normal thing to say if you're planning to buy a small moon. So here's the real question.
Or
If
build
this
the
is a
Death
bubble,
Star.
what did we actually buy? This is where things get weird. Most of the headlines you see about the AI boom aren't about how much value AI has created. They're just about how much the price of a few companies' stocks have gone up, which is kind of like judging the quality of a restaurant by how expensive their forks are. Here's the catch. When a company's market value jumps by hundreds of billions, it doesn't mean that much money magically appeared. It just means the last person to buy the stock paid more than the person before them. It's like if a single banana sells for $10, that doesn't mean all the bananas on Earth are suddenly worth $10. It just means one very confused person is about to have an expensive smoothie.
That's a good way to put it.
If we actually want to know whether this is a bubble, we need to stop looking at stock charts and start counting what's real. The money, the chips,
I've been saying that
the
for a
electricity,
while.
the people. Because if you burn through trillions and all you get is a slightly faster email writer, that's not a revolution. That's just really expensive spell check with a PR team. All right, let's talk about what this bubble is actually made of. Because it's not hopes and dreams. It's metal and electricity, and mostly invoices. Just 4 companies, Amazon, Meta, Google, and Microsoft, spent about $344 billion on AI infrastructure in 2024 alone. That's more than 1% of the entire GDP of the United States, which is wild considering most of us can't even get autocorrect to spell our own names right. And that's just the public numbers. OpenAI, the company at the center of all this,
Apple's still making my fucks into ducks.
isn't public, so we don't get to see their books. But they raised $40 billion, then lined up another $6 billion secondary share sale, and Altman casually mentioned he expects to spend trillions on data centers in the not very distant future.
Something's got to give.
State-owned companies have reportedly spent another $500 billion on their own AI build-out.
Good God.
And based on global chip sales from NVIDIA and AMD, the rest of the world has probably dropped about the same. So altogether, we're already past the $1 trillion mark just on the hardware alone, before even counting energy, staff, or, right now, data centers already eat about 1.5% of the world's total electricity, and according to the International Energy Agency,
and to put that in perspective,
2030 if AI growth keeps going like this.
Getting way more insane than anyone thought cryptocurrency would be.
Needed to write a limerick about avocados. The United States grid is especially not ready for this. Most of it was built in the 1960s and 70s,
Yup.
and it's running with just 15%
I've been saying
reserve
we need to
capacity.
modernize
Meanwhile,
electric
China,
grid for
who built
years.
their grid way more recently, runs at 100% reserve, meaning they can casually plug in another few million GPUs without blacking out an entire region. And this strain is already showing up on our bills. US electricity prices have nearly doubled in the past 3 years, partly thanks to this AI build-out. That hits every industry, not just tech. Which means when your grocery bill goes up, part of that might actually be your neighbor asking an LLM to write their wedding vows. The Goldman Sachs analysts say new large-scale power capacity in key U.S. markets won't come online until 2028, and data center vacancy rates are already below 3%. So
Jesus.
the AI boom is slamming into a literal wall. There's nowhere left to plug it all in. New Massachusetts Institute of Technology report called The Gen AI Divide found that 95% of companies using generative AI got zero return on investment. Not a bit disappointing, zero. The tools look impressive in demos, but the moment you drop them into real workflows, they fall apart like IKEA furniture in a hurricane. The few
It
companies that
depends
actually
on
see
that. I
results
use
aren't trying
Amazon
to
Q,
automate
it works,
their
and it
whole
works pretty
business.
good.
They just pick one boring but valuable task, like back office paperwork, and quietly make it faster. Everyone else is out here building half-baked co-pilots for everything and wondering why nothing works. And it's not just bad planning. The tech itself keeps wobbling. Meteor researchers found that large language models do fine on short tasks, but completely fall apart on long ones. Even coding, supposedly AI's best use case,
That's where you
ends up
have
spitting
difference
out
with
more
media
bugs and
context
security
protocols,
holes. So
lang
teams
chain, and
are
other ways
literally
to do that,
hiring
but
AI
yeah.
code janitors, which is hilarious because that was supposed to be the job the AI was taking. And then there's the stability problem. These platforms change so fast they keep breaking their own ecosystem. When OpenAI
That is
pushed out
true.
GPT-5, it quietly broke support for custom GPTs and wrecked tons of developers' tools overnight. Imagine if Python just deleted half its standard library one morning. That's what people are trying to build on right now. So not only is AI failing to produce returns, half the time
I take issue with that point about GPT-5 because a lot of businesses are not actually just doing GPT-5. Like, you can run your own LLM. Like, I've been playing with doing a media context protocol to possibly, I floated this idea to basically tie it into CrowdStrike and Zscaler at work, so that way we can actually have it as a tier 1 SOC to better analyze for ops so they can actually work on better tasks. And then we could actually run an LLM locally. But yeah, there's a whole nuance to this entire subject here. Now, I will say a lot of companies that are doing AI are definitely overvalued. I think it's overhyped, and there definitely is going to be a dot-com burst, because this is definitely a bubble. But let's remember, even when the dot-com bubble burst, we still have the internet as we know it. What happened was the unrealistic expectations, they started to go away, and people started to actually see what the reality of the technology is. They just moved away from everyone, coming in and saying, we're going to do this, but on the internet. Think about it. Like, if I recall, in terms of the timeline, Google and Amazon came out of the dot-com bubble. There are still quite a few companies that came out of the dot-com bubble and still exist. They are definitely different than when, they first started. They definitely got hammered, but there were also companies out there that revolutionized different things that maybe were ahead of their time or were just unrealistic with the expectations they had, and were just hoping that the bubble would never stop. You saw the same problem with blockchain a few years ago, and to an extent it's still the same problem, where everybody's, not understanding what blockchain is and what its applications are. That I remember when I was at Web Summit a couple years ago, people were just trying to shoehorn AI and blockchain into everything and various projects. And honestly, I enjoyed being able to drink some wine and basically ask the proper questions of a lot of these vendors and watch them squirm and just shudder. Because I would be asking them the questions not from an investor standpoint, but as a person that may potentially be using this as a cybersecurity professional. How do you handle the data? How do you process it? How do you handle this situation or that situation? Why did you do this approach instead of that approach? And you would actually see that a lot of people injected AI and or blockchain technology just so they could get the buzzword of they use AI and or blockchain in their product to then attract investors. Because investors are trying to make their money, and a lot of times they make their money not on necessarily getting their cash back in a deal, but equity in the deal, and then they make money on the value of the company that they then sell their pieces of the company for. So they couldn't care less whether this company actually makes money, but if they get a return on their investment. That's the reality of the situation. So I do think AI is definitely in a bubble. I just think he's looking at it from a particular lens where it's, you know, you're like looking at it from the consumer side of things, but I can tell you from the corporate side of things. Amazon Q is great for working inside the AWS environment. It has made my work a lot faster. As I've told people, and I think I've said it here on chat, Amazon Q is the difference of me figuring out within a few hours what would take me at least a few days, sometimes weeks, to figure out a project. I just knocked out a project today in just 2 to 3 hours of going back and forth, re-architecting it, and then fixing minor issues it came up with, because, of course, you still need to know the conceptual knowledge of a lot of the things you're doing. Don't trust AI, LLMs implicitly, because you will definitely get screwed there. But you also can learn a lot from bad code that LLMs do generate. But then there's the ways to enhance LLMs, like model context protocols, which, to summarize what that is imagine you have a model that you can integrate into your application, and it keeps the context as it goes through. So say I can have this attached to a SIM, a system information event monitoring system, to look at the context based on CrowdStrike and Zscaler, and then find issues that are potential threats, kick those out into tickets into Jira, that then the SOC can then start analyzing, and they would be anyway, but a lot of these things happen way faster than a team normally can operate, so now you have a tier 1 operating, and then the ops team can then focus on tasks to actually improve rather than just day-to-day housekeeping of things. Yeah, human in the loop and like a well-oiled machine. I still think you need a human in the loop, always. I hate saying every damn e-bike battery listing saying AI-powered chip. Need a blender AI power. It's not AI. Most of the time that they're saying it's AI-powered, it's really just an algorithm. That's really all it is. AI is this hype of a buzzword. No, it's only white blade, like, yeah. So an AI bidet idea is not 100% legit. No. And the reality is AI, as people are colloquially talking about it, isn't even proper AI. What AI is that people know as AI today is really just machine learning and or a large language model. That's all it is. It's just been repackaged into this buzzwordy name, and that's the hype right now. It reminds me a lot of the NFT craze. Everyone and their mom was jumping on NFTs to, like, make money on it like the next big thing. Like Labubus, and once upon a time, Beanie Babies. There are NFTs, Labubus, and Beanie Babies I all throw in the same class here. It's the same hype around that. But AI is definitely in a bubble state like we had with the dot-com bubble. And it's going to be interesting when it bursts. What about Furbies? Furbies were interesting. They were creepy as hell. I had them. Lately, when they say AI is really just automation. Exactly. Now, you can use it to power things like I was talking about. If you have it go reading a SIM, you basically have it as part of a SOAR, reading out informations for threat analysis, and then can start kicking out tickets. And then the human in the loop can actually verify, is this a legitimate threat? Or, if it sees patterns, can then feed in indicators of attack to preemptively block. There's a lot of things you can do with it on the business side, but I think they need to. I think this guy is looking at it from the consumer side. Now, I will say his point on the electricity usage of AI does intrigue me, because I remember people were way more harsh on cryptocurrency's energy usage than I've ever really seen it for AI. There are people that are out there talking about, yes, it is using energy, but LLM's AI are pretty much already using more power than people were theorizing cryptocurrency was going to take. And the reality is, a lot of the cryptocurrency mining facilities were running on renewable energies. You can't really say as much for LLM AI generating AI facilities that are doing all this processing. A lot of them are still connected to the conventional grid. Now, I have heard that there are companies, I think like Microsoft, if I'm not mistaken, and a few others, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they've actually discussed possibly having their own nuclear plants. Now, look, I am totally a fan of nuclear energy, because contrary to popular belief, it is actually a really safe technology when all safeguards are followed, and it actually is one of the most economical, and you can actually recycle nuclear fuel, believe it or not, to a point. I think France was talking about this, but for some reason in the U.S. we don't. And even if you look at the amount of waste the U.S. has produced from the nuclear energy that it's produced, it is such a small amount. And from my understanding, you can even take nuclear waste and use it into thorium reactors, and I like thorium reactors. Those are really cool tech, too. Anyway, but yeah, back to my point. I really am blown away that people are totally okay with LLMs and AI as to compared cryptocurrency, where I was seeing more pushback about it. You still see pushback about it. I still say cryptocurrency is a little overhyped in certain ways, because of the crypto bros kind of ruin the entire vision. And I do think AI LLMs is a little overhyped as well. I think it's actually done a little bit more damage than good in some cases. Like, a lot of the people in the younger generation generally don't know how to learn and discern fact from fiction. They're relying too much on LLMs as fact, but as we know, garbage in, garbage out. And if you train an LLM on garbage information, it will spit out garbage. Look at how Grok was just turned into basically a fascist, because they tuned it a certain way, and then it went on an anti-Semitic rant. That's my point, basically. Anyway, let's finish this video.
Can't even stay upright long enough to try. If the tech isn't ready, why are companies still throwing billions at it?
Yeah, that's basically what nuclear energy is. You're just generating steam to do that.
Every big company watched their competitors slap AI powered on something and suddenly get a stock bump, so they all panicked and did the same. Budgets were rewritten.
They did the same with cryptocurrency back in the day.
CEOs started saying AI strategy in every sentence just to keep investors calm. It's less about results and more about not looking like the one dinosaur at the robot party. And this isn't new. The same thing happened during the dot-com bubble. Companies were adding .com to their names and instantly doubling their valuation.
What did I say?
Sam Altman described it perfectly. This is a bubble built around a kernel of truth. The internet was real, but most .com companies weren't. AI is real, but most of today's AI companies probably aren't either. And while all this...
Man, I remember, like, sorry to pause the video again. Like, .com, it was Expedia.com, Yahoo.com. Like, that was literally their ads. And then Amazon pushed to Amazon.com. But yeah, cryptocurrency, a lot of companies did the same thing when the crypto booms were starting around 2015, 2016, 2017, around there. Companies were just starting to add cryptocurrency or blockchain into their names to get a stock hype.
Was building, workers, especially juniors, got convinced they couldn't get hired because AI took all the jobs, when in reality, hiring was crashing because the post-COVID-19 pandemic hiring bubble finally popped. It wasn't robots replacing them. It was just companies realizing they accidentally hired 5 front-end teams.
Yep, I told people that.
Now, you've got this weird mix of FOMO and ego pushing everyone to keep spending, even as the returns flatline, which is basically how every bubble works. It's not logic holding it up. It's pride. In places like Silicon Valley, investors don't actually need working products to pour in money. Just a good story. And right now, we're building the future with AI is basically the cheat code for fundraising. Coastal VCs are calling this the biggest private tech bubble ever.
I can believe that. You're going to see a lot of people lose their ass.
$400 million juicer. Private markets also let the bubble grow faster because there's no daily stock price to expose how shaky things are. A company can raise billions, burn through it, and as long as the next round comes in at a higher valuation, everyone pretends it's
in a private market.
Meanwhile, most of the stock market's AI optimism is concentrated in about 10 megacap firms like Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta. They've tied up so much capital in AI that even Goldman Sachs expects spending to slow soon. And when it does, the hype driving their stock prices probably goes with it.
Yup.
Bubbles don't wipe out
That's
everything.
why Microsoft's trying to throw AI on everything.
But a few pieces
They added AI to Notepad
for the next wave. After the dot-com bubble, thousands of startups vanished. But Google, Amazon, and eBay crawled out of the rubble and built the internet we use today.
That was
the
what I was
same thing
thinking,
will happen
eBay.
here. Most of the flashy AI startups will disappear, and the survivors will be the boring ones, quietly building chips, data centers, and power grids. So yeah, the AI bubble will pop, but the tech won't die. It'll just get quieter and more useful. Anyway, if you liked this video, do the whole YouTube ritual. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yep. I mean, I agree with that point over there at the end, which is basically that you're not going to see it completely die. You're just going to see the utilitarian side of it emerge, and it's going to be kind of boring. Like right now, it's the exciting part of it. Now, the cool thing is that there's a lot of the tools in terms of LLMs, machine learning and stuff that are open sourced. So we'll still be able to take advantage of that for years to come. Now, what my hope is, and again, this is my hope, I hope it comes to be, don't know if it will happen, but I hope that that hype will eventually lead to GPUs and a lot of things being a little bit more cost effective, because right now the prices are a little bit too insane. I remember when the highest end GPU I used to buy when I was gaming on a computer was $500-600. Now you have to pay $500-600 just to get like a mid-low, mid-range GPU. That's insane. And yeah. Rapture's guilt-free religious. But yeah, I pretty much agree with that video for the most part. There are a few parts that I'm like, you're being a little bit oversimplistic there. Alright, let's check this video over here. Linux is changing, Rust, new file systems, multi-kernels, and more. Haven't seen this guy before, but that video looked interesting.
Back with some Linux and open source tech news this week. We're going to be jumping into multiple kernels all living in one Linux system, trying to make Rust mandatory, a new file system that's being introduced to Linux, and much, much more. Let's get right into it with Turn file system, an exabyte scale multi-region distributed file system. This week we received a new open sourced file system. TurnFS has decided to open source their efforts and make their file system available as a free software on their public GitHub repo. And this announcement from XTX Markets, who's a huge algorithmic trading firm who does over $250 billion in daily volume trading and transfers nearly 650 petabytes of data, has open sourced their file system under the GPL version 2 and Apache 2.0 licenses. That means that this file system can be used in both open source and enterprise projects.
Interesting.
And you might be asking yourself, why another file system? Well, to break this down, the goal here of TurnFS seems to be for it to be built for large mutable files, which means they will never be modified once they're created.
Okay.
It can scale to 10 exabytes, 1 trillion files, 100 billion directories,
quite sizable,
1 million clients. It also has geo-spanning, redundant, no single metadata bottlenecks, and it's great for running machine learning pipelines reliably.
Wait. It's good for running machine learning pipelines reliably? That's interesting.
A major release. Most big Linux file systems like ZFS, ButterFS, and Bcachefs were started 10 to 20 years ago, a fresh file system designed in the 2020s with modern scale assumptions for AI and machine learning.
I use extended 4.
Deal with trillions of objects and exabytes of data.
ZFS on some of my stuff.
And a very interesting move by XTX. Finance firms traditionally keep their infrastructure proprietary, and open sourcing this Turn file system shows a shift. Even a data-heavy proprietary software industries are seeing value in contributing back to open source.
I mean, it makes sense. They get to reap the benefits of free dev.
Under the XTX Markets TurnFS repository, where you can read more about it and its goals. The target use case for TurnFS is the kind of machine learning we do at...
I'm going to pull that up while we're doing this. Hold on.
XTX, reading and writing large immutable files. By immutable, we mean that we do not need modifying after being created. Most of the storage will be taken up by files larger than a few megabytes. We don't expect directories to be created often, and files or directories to be moved between directories often. We also get a list of components and a breakdown of all the components that are a part of Turn file system. It'll be interesting to follow this along. We'll be doing so, but let's move on to the next thing. In an email from Patrick Steinhardt, we get interesting news that says introduce Rust and announce that it will become mandatory for Git. But this says here,
interesting.
This small patch of series introduces Rust into the core of Git. This patch series is designed as a test balloon, similar to how we introduced test balloons for C99 features in the past. The goal is threefold. Give us some time to experiment with Rust and introduce proper build infrastructure. Give distributors time to ease into the new toolchain requirements. Introducing Rust is impossible for some platforms and hard for others. Announce that Git 3.0 will make Rust a mandatory part of our build infrastructure, which is big news as the Git project is overwhelmingly C code, millions of lines. And no, this does not mean that Git is being rewritten in Rust.
That was going to be my question.
Starting with Git 3.0, there's an announcement here for the Git build system to require Rust, meaning require a Rust toolchain, because some parts of Git will only exist in Rust. How do things work here? Today, Git version 2 is written entirely in C, but it does have optional experiments with Rust like variant.rs, but you can build Git completely without having a Rust toolchain. With this transition phase, Git developers are experimenting by moving tiny, self-contained pieces of C to Rust. Like the example I already mentioned, Git 3.0 in the future will have at least one subsystem that will exist only in Rust. And that will mean that the build system will have to have Rust present. It's an interesting move by Git.
Bugs I have with the Rust game engine would go away because
every
the files are
developer
missing.
company and Linux distribution really depends on Git, and any change in it affects millions of people. And of course, this can spark some controversy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to start using with Rust.
Raise blow concerns, portability issues, and of course, the C versus Rust divide. As everything seems to be rewritten in Rust these days, we'll see if this causes any fragmentation in the project, but it'll be interesting to follow along with. Speaking about toolchains and linkers, we have a new Rust written linker called Wild that has been released by David Lattimore under the David Lattimore Wild repo. The goal here is to be faster than existing linkers like LLD, GNU-LD,
like
and
GoFC already.
This linker also eventually will support incremental linking,
we'll see.
something that Mold doesn't do or won't pursue. And for those of you who are unaware, incremental linking just means instead of relinking the entire program every single time you go to link, the linker only redoes the parts that have changed, making it much faster for the linking process when you're building projects. What's cool about this project is early benchmarks now show that Wild is faster than LLD, and even in some cases faster than Mold. It's a pretty cool idea, and it's great for people using Rust, because notoriously Rust has a long build process, and Wild's developers hope to manage the complexity of incremental linking more safely with better performance.
I'm sure as more people start doing Rust, they'll get your files fixed, Vampire.
And low-level tooling, and is a big deal for tech and Linux. And under the Q&A, we ask why another linker. Mold is already very fast, however, it doesn't do incremental linking, and the author has stated that they don't intend to. Wild doesn't do incremental linking yet, but that is the end goal. By writing Wild in Rust, it's hoped that the complexity of incremental linking.
Okay, so it's still a work in progress.
Exciting news for
but
not
that'll
only
be
Rust
interesting.
programs, but also C and C++ programs. Wild can also be dropped in as a linker for GCC or Clang using techniques. And other compiled languages such as Zig, Go, Fortran, and Swift. Currently supported is Linux x86-64 architecture, ARM64, and RISC-V. Currently working with popular Rust crates and C projects tested with Clang builds, Rust C, etc. So just because it's written in Rust doesn't mean it only works on Rust. It will help with other compiled languages.
That'll be
well.
interesting to see as it gets more developed.
If you're enjoying the news, make sure to subscribe below. You wouldn't want to miss another segment like this, and smash that like button on the way back up. And as a lot of people seem to always be talking about Rust, especially with the core utilities after some Linux distributions have made the choice to go with the Rust-based core utilities like Ubuntu here, starting in Ubuntu 25.10, well, we have some updates for the C-based core utilities. 9.8 has been released and stable now, and in this stable release, we do have a few new major features, which include SHA-3 hashing with checksum-a SHA-3, mproc now honors Linux Group version 2 configured CPU quotas, Fold is now multi-byte character aware, base 58 encoding with base NC, base 58, SCTY can now set arbitrary baud rates on supported systems. Also, there have been a few bug fixes and other changes as summarized in the news below, and this time we had 348 commits by 8 people in 24 weeks. Fantastic news.
Nice little build cycle there.
Quite as much as the Rust core utilities nowadays, but there's clearly polish happening on modern Linux systems with the core utilities. They've been massively stable and working for many decades now, and it's exciting to see some new work. As things like mprocess here finally report CPU based on C Group version 2 limits, preventing jobs from over-parallelizing and thrashing in Kubernetes, Docker, etc. I just wanted to switch up a little bit as we seem to be talking about Rust quite a bit in Linux and tech. And speaking about Linux, there's been a new push to make a multi-kernel architecture. Inspired by research like Popcorn Linux, multi-kernel technologies, founded by Kong Wang here, has open sourced their Linux multi-kernel implementation. Code is now on GitHub and patches are being sent to the Linux kernel mailing list. The goal here is to advance operating system architecture for cloud computing, encourage collaboration, and create a new kernel design. We're excited to announce the multi-kernel.
That'd be interesting.
Officially open sourcing.
Maybe shift
Linux
away from the
kernel
monolithic
implementation.
approach.
Our initial patches are now available on GitHub and submitted for review on LKML. Now, some of you might be asking, what is a multi-kernel? It is an operating system architecture where instead of one kernel running processes across CPU cores, you can run multi-independent kernels, one per core, socket, or even machine that cooperate.
That sounds cool.
Talk to each other. You really have 3 different types of kernels here. A monolithic kernel, one big kernel managing everything. Then you have a microkernel, a tiny kernel with services, including drivers, file systems, etc., running in user space. And finally, this multi-kernel approach with lots of kernels, each managing its own hardware slice, communicating like a distributed system. You could think of a use case for this, like, for example, if you wanted to run a real-time Linux kernel and a regular kernel on 2 separate cores, this would be a great scenario for a multi-kernel.
That would be really cool.
Interesting, as ByteDance has also announced.
And you know what'd be really funny is now you can shift the argument from, well, Linux doesn't support kernel level anti-cheat, and I'm like, well, on which kernel? Because I'm running 3.
Different approach to doing really the same thing. Parker is a new proposed feature
ByteDance?
for multiple Linux kernels to run simultaneously on a single machine without traditional KVM virtualization. This is achieved by partitioning the CPU cores, memory, and devices for partitioning aware Linux kernel. We're seeing a massive shift here in 2 different companies announcing a multi-kernel approach. That's really cool. Versus multi-kernel technologies, and the philosophies are a little different. At the base here, the model requires multi-kernel technologies to use a cooperative multi-kernel, meaning kernels talk to each other with a distributed design. Parker, which has been submitted by ByteDance, for those of you unaware, ByteDance is the creator and owner of TikTok. Well, they want a partitioned kernel approach. This means kernels are isolated and there's no communication between each other.
Interesting.
They can only focus on their own subtasks. And why do both approaches matter here? Together, they showed a renewed interest in multi-kernel Linux approaches after decades of SMP monolithic dominance. So it's very interesting to see both of these companies coming through and trying to evolve how distributed operating systems.
I guess now that we have systems with multiple cores, this is possible.
And I'm definitely excited to try this for myself. I do like running real-time systems, especially hard real-time.
I'll be interested in playing with that too down the road.
Very interesting to see if I can finally get Linux to work properly in that sense with this multi-kernel level approach. And if you want to learn more about Linux, check out my checklist, cheat sheet, and mind map, all available at savvynick.com. Download them today. And now let's talk about a little bit of drama. As
Bcachefs drama!
is a DKMS package on an official app repository for Bcachefs.
I think they got dropped from being built into the kernel to just a module now.
Bcachefs outside of
because the
repository, and it's important
operator is a child.
Get up to date Bcachefs without.
I mean, he's immature.
This is because Bcachefs got set to externally maintained in the mainline kernel, which has caused it to scramble and find a way to get Bcachefs back to its users before we get another kernel release. So now you can get it back on Ubuntu and Debian by adding a user managed repository and then running sudo apt update and install bcachefs tools. This is a big deal for Ken Overstreet, as he originally created bcachefs and recently had announced that bcachefs would ship as a DKMS module. And Ubuntu being one of the biggest Linux distributions, it makes sense for users to have a dynamic kernel module support package available on Ubuntu and Debian. Mainly, this helps distributions as they're off the hook for maintaining in-tree support. They can now ship a DKMS package instead, and users can install it themselves as well. As bcachefs was struggling with the mainline Linux kernel, it now has pivoted to a DKMS module and external tooling model, basically taking what ZFS did and evolving outside the kernel tree, and we'll see what happens in the coming weeks and years. Will bcachefs get back into the Linux kernel mainline at some point? It's possible, just not right now. I want to know.
Not if he keeps arguing with Linus and the other people that way.
Keeps getting introduced more and more into tech.
I read some of the arguments. It was interesting.
Along. Don't forget to subscribe below and smash that like button on the way back up. Catch me in a great community on Discord, and I'll catch you in another video. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Make sure I got subscribed to that dude just for when it happens. But yeah, there was some drama where bcachefs, if I remember correctly, basically they were shipping patches in and they weren't doing proper testing or something like that, and it was like last minute, and they were pissing off a lot of the devs, and they basically got thrown out of the kernel, if I recall. Who was that talking in the video? That was Savvy Nick. Here, I'll drop the link for that video. I came across him while I was just going through the YouTube feed, and I figured that'd be something good for the stream before we get into the gaming on Linux part of it. Okay, so compatibility. You're on Proton Experimental. So let's get the latest Proton GE, because I know they released a was it 10.17 they're on now? Let's grab the latest release. I like Glorious Egg Roll, if you can't tell. We're downloading it. There's more stuff in review on stream. I know. I'm just spacing things out. Alright, so let's see. We need to go to... Was it config? No. I think it's .steam. I always forget the pathway. No. Steam. Compatibility tools.d. There we go. Gotta quit that for a second. But yeah, there's a few videos. I mean, we can probably get one more video. I still need to launch Steam again. Well, it's already launched, but hold on. Get that set up. Compatibility. Oh, it didn't close. That's why. I gotta relaunch it to get Proton. Arch is definitely the overlord. I love my 3 manager. I just don't like Arch because I like to go touch grass. Yeah, but XCP-NG, is it hard to set up on a Power Edge? I haven't used that. Yeah, we'll watch the video from Brody a little bit later. That's about a 30-minute video. I shall definitely watch that later. I was just looking at it, Vampire. May save that for if I go streaming tomorrow or maybe Sunday. But we'll figure it out. Oh yeah, I forgot there's that. Okay, let's get... Okay, and I gotta change a couple things for the stream. I did tell y'all yesterday that I wanted to definitely do some more gaming because, well, didn't get to do that for a while. Work wants me to set up for archiving. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are using it. I just haven't really. Look at that. And then we're gonna pop that up. And then... Cool. So they had a small patch. Oh wait, they had a patch? Oh, look at that! Improvement to stability and performance. Addressed various instances of hitching, low FPS, and crashes. What is that? Did you mean that the game needed to be optimized, like the entire community was saying? What's his face, CEO of Gearbox? Oh, you just need to get a better game. No, you need to get some better coders. You're using Unreal Engine 5, which is still relatively new. You're using coders that don't understand the engine that well, and then you're just throwing it out, and then it's going to crap. That's what's happened with everyone using UE5 lately. Remember Oblivion? Oblivion's an old game. And that was running like crap on my machine. Until I, like, tweaked the hell out of it. But at least Oblivion, you can tweak it a little bit more. But yeah, patch notes say that they've done some performance improvements. Yeah, look at that. We're processing Vulkan shaders again. This is going to take a second. This only has to happen like once, and then you're good. Curious how Proton GE 1017 is going to work with this, along with the patches that they just did for performance. Now, what's going to suck is it's probably going to be about a few more months until it's fully optimized to the way that it should have been. And I hate the fact that games today come out with such crap, and then they eventually fix it down the line. Like, it's almost like an accepted thing that you're gonna get a game, and sometimes you'll get a day zero patch. I do not understand that. Oh yeah. Let me, Alright, hold on. Trying to get some music over here going. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. I guess it just crashed again while I was getting that. I use Pop! OS for my gaming. What's the best laptop ever made, and why is it the ThinkPad P53? I don't know, I liked my IBM ThinkPad X20. Pop! OS is the best for Steam. People need to stop getting on this idea of what's the best Linux for this. The best Linux is the one that fits your workflow. At the end of the day, pretty much all Linuxes have the same things under the hood. Pick one that you like and that fits your needs. You can distro hop a little bit. Let's see if they fix the DLSS bullshit. Nope. It's still artifacts like crap. I use Pop! OS because I like it, and it works for me. It may not work for you. Just find what works for you. It's the best Linux for... Vampire. Bad boy. Except Arch. Arch is only there if you don't want to go touch grass. I was in here earlier. Doesn't Borderlands not run on Linux because of kernel crap? No. Borderlands has always run on Linux. I've got Borderlands 2 and 3 on this. I never played the original one on here. I think I was playing it back on console. Eventually I'll buy that. Did I already clear this area before I left? Maybe. They had some anti-piracy. Anti-piracy is different than kernel-level anti-cheat. They may have some anti-piracy stuff, but they don't have kernel-level anti-cheat bullshit.
You should be approaching Saul's airship now, Vault Hunter.
I thought certain Linux is more optimized for Steam OS. Steam OS is its own thing. But they all run pretty much the same Linux kernels. You can run whatever packages. The main differences between them is the desktop environment and what they're pre-installed with and how they do their package management. That's pretty much the majority of it. I'd say like 95 to 98% of Linuxes are the same distro to distro. Except for a few things. Yeah, so just find the Linux that works best for your workflow, that you like the style and, you know, how it operates, and then be happy with it. I've used Pop! OS for years. Before that I was using Ubuntu. Before that I was using Ubuntu. And then I was also using, like, Slackware and a few others, too.
Heads up! Orders within range!
I can't cancel the launch from here, and there's no way to get you inside. Get closer somehow. That's your only hope for stopping it. The refueling platform. If you raise it, you should be able to reach the ship.
Oh, this is a perfect song.
Vault Hunter, activate the refueling platform. Quickly! It's your only path to the airship.
Deny protection, yet you feed us lies from the tablecloth. Ooh, everybody's coming to the party, have a real good time.
else wants a piece, huh?
Come on. I'm going to lap a SteamOS adds Rust version. They'd need to first, you know, program, the actual Steam app to not be 32-bit anymore.
Well done. There's no sense attempting to blow up the ship. You'd turn to goo along with it. If you can release the docking clamps, that should sabotage the launch sequence. And buy you time to take down Sol.
Heads up! Ordered what's in range! Well, looks like we got us a city slicker.
Headshot! Give me 1 second, chat. I know there's one more around here. Or maybe not. Cyberpunk 2077 runs pretty fine. I've had Cyberpunk playing before. I should probably get back to playing that. I haven't beat it.
Almost didn't see you there!
We're cutting it close, Vault Hunter. Do not let that airship
I said I'm on my bar in a 9070 and it runs like hot dog water, runs fine on W. I'm running Pop OS and NVIDIA 3070. Could have sworn there was, yep. Knew it. Maybe need to do a clean install of 197 performance. I don't think a clean install would probably do anything with it. I'm also running, you have to use frame generation on this game. It's unfortunate, but you do. Like, and DLSS runs like dog shit for some reason on this game. So I had to use TSR, which is their own,
Stay on guard! I smell ordenadores.
Shit. Oh, god damn it. The reality is, fresh installs on Linux don't really work as well as Windows because it's totally different. Windows slows down for totally different reasons.
This ain't over. Not by a damn sight.
Wait. Oh, was it over here? FSR runs bad on my 97 this game as well. I had to use TSR. Ah, must not be the only one with that issue. Wait. God damn it. I think I lost my position here. What the hell? Did I just get invisible walled? I should have been able to jump through that, but no. Using Wi-Fi without the VPN, you're a risk. I don't know about that. Maybe if you're on public, but... Wait, what are you pointing me to? Wait, did it want me to do something up there? What did you... That's annoying. I don't know what the map was trying to tell me, but okay. What's with this random glass here? It's annoying. Oh yeah, I forgot we can slide. I hit control on accident. Do the long, boring trip all the way around. Gotta get back to my damn spot.
Well, looks like we got us a city slicker.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot about my special skill. no, 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 no. I think I need to start getting some more powerful guns. Been leveling up with these for a little bit. Yes, I know, Vampire. I can use ground slide. Thank you, Peanut Gallery.
Should I be closer? Yes, let me get closer. You're fast, but my gun's fast. Who are these people? Yeah! Someone tell me they saw that!
A little bit close. I think all my years of playing Tribes 2 is what helped me get better aim. Where do I need to go? Oh. Yeah, once you learn to ski down at around 80 kilometers an hour and pop someone with a spin fuser, you kinda can do this. Putting a Parkinson's patient to shame.
Perfect. The ship is out of commission, but the outbounders won't be out of danger until you eliminate Saul. Say hello from me in your special way, Vault
I got
Hunter.
great news. I'm about to do my first red teaming competition in tech school. Nice! Good luck, buddy. Okay, where do I need to go now? I don't think it's over here. Nope. Do I need to run all the way back there? That'll be really annoying if I have to. Oh yeah, I basically do have to run all the way back there. Like an A+ cert course, I'm going to be doing the actual test in 3 weeks. Well, good luck, bud. I'm sure you'll do great if you've been studying for a while and doing great. It's a little bit different from what my people have told me. Go and take the A+. I have not. The only cert I have is the CISSP. It's a little bit different if you don't understand, like, change control processes and how a lot of, enterprises operate, but it's not too hard to grasp. I hit the wrong button, goddammit. Okay, how the hell do I get back up there? Wait, was I able to Alright, let's see. Is my ammo really that full? No, it can't be. I still need to get some sniper ammo. Yeah, I basically made a full circle from where I started. I think.
These robo-grunts ain't so tough!
There's gotta be more around here. There's never just one of these guys.
Rush, the outbounders should be safe for now. I'm headed to Sword.
Good luck. Not that you need it. I've seen what you can do, but be careful. Losing a friend like you would be. I mean, there's just no way.
I thought this was Breaking Benjamin playing.
A bit, aren't I? Let's leave
I haven't
it
heard their music in a bit.
I'll see you soon.
Heads up! Order grunt in range! Never saw it coming! Now we're cooking with drones! Order eliminated! Fall back, Almost didn't see you there!
Thought I saw a big boy. Trying to keep some distance from them. That's right. Who's your daddy? It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind as you design this rhyme to explain in due time. Like I was part of your property.
Well, looks like we got us a city slicker!
So things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. I knew I heard something coming near me.
Boundaries, folks! It's rocket surgery!
Alright, looks like we got 3 bogeys.
Almost didn't see you there! You're really gonna hate this!
Okay, come on. Get back here, you little bastard. There we go.
Never saw it coming!
Alright, let's go pick up some loot. There we go. These are all just regular items. Now that's a big boy. I'll take a look at you later. Alright, let's see. Where are we going now? Just an ammo check.
Never saw it coming!
Nice. I like my stickies. Nope, nothing around here.
Well, someone's got the hot foot.
Nice, another level. I got skills, son. Let's see. The first shot, damage. Bonus corrosive damage. Overdrive gains duration. Ordinances deal. Okay. We'll max out the extra damage then. How full's my inventory? Oh, I still got rewards I haven't claimed? That shield might be a little bit better. Ooh, that's an interesting assault rifle. Alright, let's see what's in the backpack. The order. Okay, so let's see. How does that compare to my current shield? I wish they organized this a little bit better so you could actually easily just compare it. Unless I'm a moron. No. Where the hell's the shield? Oh. Shield booster. When damage 15%, refills 18% capacity. Okay, so we want to do that. Weapons. Let's see what damage we got. I wish I had the space for that. I need to dump some of this in a bank. Wait, how's that? Taser fires a taser, damages a nearby enemy for 90 damage a sec. Alright, let's see how that compares to... Where's my current SMG? Wait, no, that's an assault rifle. And a windpipe and... Okay, so hold on. Where was that? That deals 45 by 5 damage. Okay. There's that. I don't want that charge-up rifle. Ooh. Grenade launcher. I wish there was a way to actually organize this a lot better, but yeah. Hey, it's just Dev. Thank you for the sub. Wait.
Kick ass.
I can save money down there. One can eat, getting money in the daytime, even kinda when I sleep. Wake up to get. The song cut out. Oh, yeah. I will make sure to give you the money as well. I will get that to you. If not tonight, tomorrow. I promise. Sorry, that's on me. 38 seconds for that? Okay. Alright, so we need to compare the grenades. Tornado. You moved a tree the other day? Ooh, that shield's a lot more powerful. Okay, this has 28 rounds compared to the other one. Just trying to get this,
Anyone up for some exploration?
Alright. Attached to a man, unfortunately. Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah, I had to move a tree once, if you remember, when I did the fence in my backyard. That was a huge pain in the ass. Oh, you'll post a photo in chat? Yeah, be curious. How big of a tree was it? Oh, I can sell things now. Oh, we're gonna go down, which means there's a boss down there, isn't there?
No boss? No problem. I'll patch you up in no time.
I don't know how I feel about that rifle, so we're just gonna keep that. Not much of a pistol guy. $497 healing. It's not the biggest, but I moved it myself. Yeah, that'll,
Bandit a while back. Small.
that does matter.
Shoot, I can get some use out of this yet. I used to have one just like this. I'll buy it at a high price. Well, high-ish.
Grenades cook while held and explode on duration. Interesting.
You sanitized this, right? I'm just kidding. This here's a beauty. Well, might always appreciate you.
Thoughts on GNOME? Oh, I'm using GNOME. It's alright, but I am definitely waiting for Cosmic Desktop to, become, stable. Ooh.
The obligation of the weak
That dude needs to get on a diet.
nourish the strong. You will die, and I will return to the Timekeeper's side.
Hey, dude, you need to get on a diet, I think, before, you know, you're talking smack.
We rule forever.
Okay, that ain't doing shit.
There will be nothing left of you.
Oh. It's got some caustic damage.
Fall before my power.
A little rain never hurt.
So how do I kill the idolator?
Who needs the money? Damn it!
Oh, I see.
Ready when you are.
Your weakness is clear. You will take the shot.
Ready when you are.
Oh, overshot him. shit, I'm getting low on ammo on this.
I have one hell of a shot if I do say so myself.
That won't stop me!
As we have always been.
Your purpose is fulfilled!
Kinda like family, aren't we? Oh, it's coming.
That was DEF CON. DEF CON was great. I will have a video that I need to record talking about it. I got the script written. I just haven't had the time to record it. I've been so busy. I'll be at GurCon though, was it next week?
What these bitches?
Sacrifice! You shall fear the storm!
I'm calling it. This fight's over. Winner is me, asshole. Freedom of the world.
Oh, that was close.
There's no escape!
What's up, Lisa?
You're mine!
Well, looks like we got us a city slicker. Don't step on the cracks!
You accursed dust!
Rock! God damn it.
times just a blade rat, you know?
Ooh.
Oh good, order forces. To what do I owe you this pleasure?
Ooh. Kind of interesting how he kills his own dudes. I'll get Barack a treat in a little bit.
Enough of that! I will never fall!
These Undertines just a blade rat, you know?
Observe my strength!
God damn it.
Behold my strength!
Order eliminated. If you need help, please find my team. Come on, Rafa, move.
You face an unstoppable force!
Well, looks like we got us a city slicker.
Depths of my power shall be unleashed!
See that? That's a little thing called marksmanship. Might give it a try next time. Oh good, order forces. To what do I owe the displeasure?
Power before the storm!
Oh, that was close.
What use is brain? Except to be devoured!
¡Del ordenadores! Don't hurt yourself now! Hey, watch it! ¡No pueden correr, muchachos! Well, looks like we got us a city sticker.
You absolute fool!
Almost like my rabbit.
Okay, come on. Mess that up.
You're just punishment!
Okay, let's see that.
That it? Ground's unstable! Is that all?
I will not falter!
Come on, you're almost down. Damn it. You got armor.
Accept your fate!
Don't miss!
Receive your just punishment! Get thumbs!
Holy shit, that was close. I had 9 points left. That was a really close one. That was tough.
Rush, Zadra. Sol is dead. It's finally done.
Woo!
Yes. Oh, it's really over. We all owe you one. I'll meet you back home at the launch pad.
And I will stay here. That amount of revelry might overwhelm. But well done.
Is that it? Oh, I guess I gotta fast travel. If I'm there, then it needs me... Wait, what? Okay. Cool. That was not intuitive. That was a pretty tough fight. Let's see what loot I got. I didn't check that out. Took what I hated and made it up out of me. Okay, so let's see. Alright, so then we can junk that. Junk that. Yeah, I like this rifle I got a little bit better now. Alright, so let's clear out that. So I've got 2 heavy guns now. Get away from me, I'm so back at none to do. Oh, secondary... Secondary fire shoots sticky gyro jets that explode on reload or when switching modes. Well, how's that compared to this guy? Yeah, I like the grenade launcher a little bit more. Alright, so what grenade do I have? All my life, I've been waiting for something, something never comes. It's nothing, nothing satisfies, and the feeling close to the fire, to the end of the road. Alright, let's see. Grenades teleport to their destination. What? Grenade option. Spring payload bounces in place, exploding 3 additional times. One by one, I got nothing to say. Oh, that's an ally. Not used to those.
Reloading? Never heard of it!
Come on. I do like this rifle a lot more.
Someone brought some shine to the scuffle. You're really gonna hate this. Almost didn't see you there.
Getting little stutters here with the frames. NVIDIA 3070.
See that? That's a little thing called marksmanship. Might give it a try next time.
I like where you stand! Covering you!
Alright.
Oh good! Order forces! To what do I owe this pleasure? Someone tell me they saw that!
Wait, I can get enhancements? Oh. Gun damage increased by 12%. Gun status effect. Oh. Interesting.
Reloading? Never heard of it!
Good God. They just keep coming. Wait, am I full on ammo? Oh, okay. Among the icy peaks of Mount.
Espérate! Stop shooting my wheels! Nothing a paint job would make, right?
This is Borderlands 4.
Cannot be endured!
Alright, where do we need to go? Oh, it looks like we got a little mini boss over here.
Hostilities! At last! My shooting hand was falling asleep.
Well, you kind of ran outside of bounds, so...
Who's next? My bullets are hungry.
Keep it together. Come on!
Losing hull integrity here.
Alright, let's see. Where are we going now?
Best watch where you're looking.
Big boy.
I hope you are ready to meet the maker.
Oh, damn. I'm almost out of rifle ammo.
That could take that
I wonder how I get up there.
All we ask in return that you give your everything. Those who forge the stars.
Alright. Getting a little tired, so think I'm gonna call it a night here. Thank you all for joining me, and stay safe and happy hacking. I will see y'all later.
We'll be right back.